إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name's Sam Martin Burr, and a very warm welcome back to the Sam Martin Burr YouTube channel, and also a very warm welcome back to this series that we're doing. This is kind of a smaller series within a bigger playlist called Arabic Text Time, but out of necessity and out of a kind of a pull that I've felt just in my heart towards helping people understand the Khutbah, especially as we're kind of out of the coronavirus weeds for now, and we have people going to the masjid for Jummu'ah. I thought it would be a nice time to kind of revive an understanding of the khutbah among the Muslims. So within this series, we're in kind of part 3 of this playlist that we're doing on the khutbah. So we've done 2 previous lessons where I went over the Arabic of the bit that I just recited for you at the beginning of this video. So if you haven't caught up with that, then go and check that out, inshallah. There are some supporting resources on my Patreon as well, which are entirely optional, but if you want access to, vocab lists and, some of these summaries for the grammar that I've explained and things like that in like a really nice, easy to understand printable PDF, then you can go over to my Patreon and get access to that for like a couple of pounds or £1 or whatever, but maximum like £3 a month. But you can do it, download all of the resources, and you can cancel. I'm absolutely fine with that. So long as you guys are learning, inshallah, then that's the most important thing. Okay, so what we're doing really today is we've come down to a part in the khutbah when there's a few ayat of the Quran that the khatib will recite. And I would like to talk to you about what this first one means. So this first one is the 102nd ayah of Surah Al-Imran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. So there's some really nice Arabic we can talk about in here, inshallah. So the first bit is kind of a very, very common and regularly repeated little expression, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, which really nicely translates to, oh, those who have believed. Oh, those who have believed. Yeah just means, oh, Allah uses it for the believers. I think there is actually a time when Allah uses it for the disbelievers as well. I think there's an ayah in Surah Al-Tahrim where Allah uses it. But I think it's the only time in the Quran. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَا تَعْتَذِرُوا الْيَوْمِ. I think that's it. Oh, those of you who have disbelieved, don't make excuses today. لَا تَعْتَذِرُوا الْيَوْمِ. I think that's what it is, inshallah. I hadn't planned to bring up that point, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is from Surah Al-Tahrim, I believe it is. Anyway, so this يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا is a very common and regularly heard passage. Good. Ittaqullah. Ittaqullah. In this case, it's plural. There's a waw and an alif in there. Ittaqu. So it means have consciousness of Allah. Have consciousness of Allah, right? Or have fear of Allah. I mean, the term taqwa isn't really fear. There's a whole kind of discussion. I mean, I believe it comes from a term like wiqaya or something like that, which really means like a shield when you protect yourself in battle from arrows and stuff like that. And taqwa is very similar in that way, that taqwa is taking precautions so that you don't sin. That just like a shield is a precaution that you don't get hit. So, having taqwa is even going out of your way to ensure that you're not tempted by sin. Like, for example, if we have a sin like drinking alcohol, right? Like, having taqwa wouldn't be just not drinking alcohol. Like a person who sits in a bar with people who are drinking alcohol, and it would be very difficult to consider that person someone who has taqwa. They might have some willpower if they're sat around it and they don't drink it, but it's not taqwa. Like, to have taqwa would be to protect yourself from the temptation of a sin. Anyway, I digress a little bit. But Allah is saying, ittaqullaha, then have consciousness of Allah, right? Let's just say it like that. Have consciousness of Allah. Good. Haqqa tuqatihi. Haqqa tuqatihi. So haqqa, it means right. right? It means a right. It means right in two ways. Right as in if something's true. If you say this is true, you can use the term haqq for that. But haqq can also mean a right. Like the term حقوق الإنسان, it means like human rights. حقوق الإنسان. So, but haqqa tuqatihi. So the term tuqatun is a word for piety. It's from the same root as taqwa. But this he on the end means his. So it means the piety which he has a right to, right? His rightful piety. Fear Allah, his rightful fearing, right? Fear Allah, his rightful fearing, or be conscious of Allah, his rightful consciousness, right? It's right that he is deserving of, right? Have conscious of Allah, the consciousness that he's deserving of is what this really means. Haqqa tuqatihi. And what? Wala, and don't. Wala, the wa means and la in this case means don't. Tamutunna. Lovely. Okay, so the verb mata means to die. Tamutu means you die in the present. So la tamut or la tamutu in the plural will mean don't die. That's not the whole thing. Allah has obviously said to us, "Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut," that every soul will taste death. So Allah would not give us the amr, the command to la tamutu. Rather, it's la tamutunna. This noon on the end. Something interesting. This is called noon at-tawkid, and it can actually be done in two ways. It can be It can actually be done in two ways. It can be done with a sukoon on it or with a shadda, but I've never seen it with a sukoon. I only know that because I've been told that it can be done like that. La tamutunna, much like in the poem of Al-Mutanabbi where he says, وَلَا تَظُنَّنَّ, and do not think, لَا تَظُنَّنَّ أَنَّ اللَّيْثَ يَبْتَسِمُ, that the lion is smiling. Anyway, once again, I digress. But this is saying absolutely do not die. Absolutely do not die. But let me finish, okay? إِلَّا except وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ, except that you are Muslims. Do not die except that you are Muslims. Good. Yeah. So Arabic has a kind of style of expression where rather than using the word only, they will use a negative and then say except. So for example, when we have La ilaha illallah, there is no God except Allah. In English, we would probably say there's only Allah. Or if I was to say something like, I only study Arabic in English, right? If I was to say, I only study Arabic. But in Arabic, they might say something like, I don't study except Arabic. If you were to say, I only study Arabic, right? Like, Arabic kind of has an expression like that. Or for example, like, something I say sometimes in Fusha, like, as a joke. If I'm speaking to my friends who are Arabs and they speak Arabiya and stuff, I'll say, لا أتكلم العربية إلا الفصحى. Right? I don't speak Arabic except Fusha. Right? But that's like, I mean, that sounds silly. So, like, who says that? Like, who says a thing like that? Who says a thing like that in a coffee shop? Like, but well, I do. I'm the type of chappie who would say a thing like that. But yeah, Arabic in Fusha has this way of expressing only by using a negative and then saying except. And what we have here is do not die except as Muslims. So what Allah is saying is only die as Muslims, right? Only die as Muslims. Good. Or what I think is a nice translation of it is, and do not die except while you are Muslims. And why do we use the word while in there? It's because this wa and then a pronoun, that there's a little bit more advanced Arabic I'm going to speak about here, but yeah, this is something called a hal. A hal is when we use wa to mean while something else is happening. Like do not die except while you are Muslims. Right? This wa in this case doesn't mean and. Except, what would that even mean? Except and you are Muslims. It doesn't even mean anything. So that's that area. So just as a word for word, little breakdown of it, just for me to summarize this and conclude it, we have Ya ayyuha, O, alladhina, those who, amanu, have believed, ittaqullaha, have consciousness of Allah, haqqa tuqatihi, his rightful consciousness, وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ, and absolutely do not die, إِلَّا except, وَأَنْتُمْ, while you are Muslimun, while you are Muslims. So the word Muslim is obviously one Muslim, and Muslimuna is the plural. Yes, there's another plural, muslimina, which you use after prepositions or as the object of a sentence and some other things, but here it's wa antum muslimuna in the plural. Excellent, so that's everything for this episode. I think we'll continue this, inshallah, if the students are benefiting from it. Please let me know in the comments what you think of the series, if you think it's beneficial, and stuff like that. So what we'll do in the next lesson, if you students still want to continue with it, because we've done 10 episodes of Arabic text time now, so usually at 10 episodes is a good time for us to kind of reassess what the students really want and what they're benefiting from. But if you guys are still enjoying it and want me to continue going through the khutbah, then what we'll do is we're going to carry on with the next ayah, where Allah says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. Yes, and we'll do that ayah in the following lesson, inshallah. But you'll need to wait until next Wednesday to get a hold of that. So for now, that's everything. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have, please don't forget to like and share it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. If you want to be kept in the loop of other Arabic resources that I'm putting out there into the world completely for free here on YouTube and on the Sam Martin Burr podcast. Have an absolutely amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.